that is like looking in the rearview mirror trying to drive forward. All you're doing is bringing up the problems of the past.
I love the tagline, just be more interesting than Instagram.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great mantra just to carry around with you everywhere you go.
I felt like I was crushing it everywhere else in life. And for some reason, the one area that mattered most, which was the marriage, wasn't working as well. You go execute this game plan and you'll be able to change things in your relationship without having to sit there on the couch and talk about it. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the TPM Show. Once again, we're going to do a Q&A where we're taking your questions and I'm going to do my best to answer them. And once again, we're joined by Christopher Hansen. Chris, thanks for being here, man.
Yep, of course. Hey, Doug.
Let's keep these questions going. I know you got a lot in there. Let's do as many as we can for the time we have.
Cool. So this question is from Chris, 36-year-old entrepreneur from Florida. Says, Doug, I've done the therapy thing, and all it did was drag us through every mistake we've ever made and made my wife and me even angrier with each other. Let's be honest. Isn't coaching just therapy dressed up in a cooler outfit? Why would your program be any different?
Great question. I love that. If you've ever seen me dress, it's not going to be cooler. First and foremost, fashion is not my thing. I grew up in Southern California, so shorts, t-shirt, sandals. It's my dress code. Even now I'm wearing sandals. So great question. So look, sure this is not yours, you're 36. So first of all, I did therapy as well. So my wife and I did marriage counseling. We did premarital counseling and then 2 different counselors of marital counseling. And it was the same thing, right? We go into the counseling like actually doing okay. I remember one time specifically, and I've told this story in my book. We walk in the counselor, we sit down on that little friggin' couch. And this time I got a male counselor because the female, that didn't go well. And we're actually doing well. We have dinner reservations at a nice restaurant in town in Santa Barbara, a restaurant called Opal, if you guys have ever been to Santa Barbara. And I used to have a business right next door, so I knew the owners, which is great. Anyway, we digress. We sit down. We walk out of that counseling session pissed at each other. Like, you know, that I won't talk, when neither of us are talking.
Yeah.
So we open the door, walk out, go through the reception area, like there's a little reception thing, and turn. And there sitting on the couch is another business owner from Santa Barbara and myself and his wife. We catch eye and we just start cracking up. I walk by, I'm like, good luck. That didn't go over well either, as you could probably imagine.
Sure.
So now we go out to dinner and now we're that couple in the restaurant. Again, I know the owners, I know patrons. So usually I go out and talk to people or people come to the table. No one comes to the table. Everybody can tell. We're sitting across from each other, not even looking at each other. And so to answer Chris's question, therapy, well, not therapy, but marriage counseling is specific. So I'll address that more than just therapy as a whole. That is like looking in the rearview mirror trying to drive forward. All you're doing is bringing up the problems of the past. Now, it's good to acknowledge the problems and then have a clearing conversation. So both people feel seen and understood. That's super important. We do that with what we call the clean slate method, right? And ideally that's done one time. Boom, we're done with that. And it takes some involvement to get there. What we do, and I can't speak for other coaching programs. I used to own another coaching program before TPM existed. But what we do at TPM is we give men the tools to drive the relationship forward, not backwards. When they screw up, you clean it up, right? And you do it quickly. And then you're not constantly looking in the rearview mirror. And that's the problem with marriage counseling. We have marriage counselors that go through our program. A lot of our books, people have bought my book, have been marriage counselors, and they'll send me messages. Like, man, we were never taught this. Where did you learn it? Again, I outline the basics right in the book. It's on Amazon. It's a man's guide to how to save your marriage without talking about it. And so it's in there. And that's the difference. So I don't know if it's cool. It's, man, I went through this and I spent 5 years or so trying to figure it out, reading every book I could, attending, meeting therapists. I did business coaching back then, Chris, and consulting. So I'll help you with your business. Can you help with my marriage? Like, I don't know what's going on. I felt like I was crushing it everywhere else in life. And for some reason, the one area that mattered most, which was the marriage, wasn't working as well. And it bled into everything, man. When my wife and I would fight and we'd be distant and cold. I don't know if you guys have ever had that experience, but I have. And then I would think about that tomorrow at work and the next day. And I'd think about, oh, I don't want to go home. Oh, I'd rather go out. But if I go out, then she's going to get mad. Then it's going to get worse. And I'll just suck it up, bite my tongue. And that makes it worse because she can feel the distance and the disconnect. And she's yearning for connection, but both of you are distant, and that chasm between you guys, that gap, grows further and further.
Yep.
Where coaching is different, at least I can speak to the way that we coach at TPM, is it's on how to improve, right? It's not, hey, let's go look at that past action, right? So let's go look at the affair, or let's go look at the distance, or let's go look when you were just being a nice guy. It's let's clean it up, draw a line in the sand. This is marriage 2.0 essentially. And here's how we create it. We don't create it by talking about it, right? That's not what we do. We create it through action. We're men of action, right? We start with an alpha rise and shine, start with a morning routine. And for most guys, that changes a lot of things. So she's like, what the heck? What are you doing differently now? You're taking care of yourself. You're being commanding. And we're teaching the men while they're doing this how to make their wife feel emotionally safe, how to make their wife, feel seen, heard, and desired again. And these are the processes we're taking these men through during the program as they're still doing their morning routine. And so they start to get a little pep in them step. They start to get their mojo back. They don't have to sit down and have these lengthy conversations on a couch with their wife because their wife's going, this is looking good. This is feeling better. And that's what women want. They want to feel better. So when the man starts leading himself first, right? So he's leading himself and he becomes more into his masculine. Again, I define masculine as an energetic thing, not a pound your chest, beat a dick, type thing. Yeah. A lot of guys have that toxic masculinity view, or I don't think men do as much, but some society does. Yeah. It's not that at all. It's the inner strength within inside of yourself. Guys start to get a little bit of their mojo back, man, and then they start to get more confident, and their wife feels it. And she's going, okay, what's going on over there? I want to find out more. And some guys will turn their marriages around week number 1, and we'll see it happen right away because she's like, oh, he's changing. Thank God. I've been waiting for this. I've been praying. How many times I've heard, I've been praying for this. Yeah. We even have a testimonial when we, Colton, who does our production, he and I drove to a couple of the couple's houses and just said, would you mind if I just interviewed you? And one of them was right on the spot. And what the wife said is, I've been praying for this for, gosh, I can't remember exactly what she says, but like a year. I've been praying every night for God to send something. And what he sent was the TPM program and completely shifted their marriage. And I mean, you don't have to take my word for it. You can go look at these are what real people are saying, real wives are seeing the results. And most of people tried therapy first because that's what you just think of for a lot of guys. Yep. And then you end up let's talk about why you're wrong, Chris. Yeah. Let's talk about what you did wrong again. Last week we talked about what you did wrong with, not being there for your wife when she helping out around the house. How's that going? Oh, well, Chris he's doing better. All right, Chris. So let's talk about where you're not doing well. And it's just constantly digging up where you're not performing rather than going, hey, Chris, here's how you get to perform in your own manner. Does this feel good to you? Does it sound good to you? You're like, yep, I like it. Cool. This is what I want you to do. Here's your game plan. You go execute this game plan and you'll be able to change things in your relationship without having to sit there on a couch and talk about it.
Yeah, for sure. I always look at therapy as really great, maybe, at figuring out the why. Yep. Why did I end up where I'm at right now?
Hey guys, I just want to share something with you. I'm sure we can both agree that in order to fix something, you need to know what's broken. And not only need to know what's broken, but a step-by-step methodology on how you can fix it. That's the easiest way to do it, right? Otherwise, you're going to be toiling with things. That's why I created a free training, a training that not only shows you how you got to where you are, where your relationship is missing that love, respect, admiration, and even intimacy that it used to have, to how you get it back. How do you retain that where your wife's looking at you the same way she used to look at you when she said, I do. You know, I don't know about you, but for me, when my wife looks at me like I'm her man, that I feel like I can conquer the world. And I want that for you. Simply go over to thepowerfulman.com/scales. That's thepowerfulman.com/scales. And I have a free video training for you. You can just click play and see if this resonates for you. Now back to the podcast.
Which can be important.
Yeah.
To understand, like, it's valid.
Yep.
Yeah. But it's not the thing that's going to get you to where you want to be.
We have about, I don't know how many thousands of men have been through our programs over the last 8 years, but a lot.
Yeah.
Of those, I know a lot of guys who have had help in therapy outside of the marriage. I can't recall one man that's had said, yeah, marriage therapy is key for me.
Yeah.
And it's fair to say, well, you guys run a program for relationships. But we have other programs that men come in that their marriage is actually good or something else. Mm-hmm. And those guys don't even say, well, my marriage was bad at one time and I did marriage therapy with my wife or marriage counseling and that's what got it better. I don't hear that.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Awesome. Do we have time for another one?
Yeah, I think so. So this one's from Paul. Paul is a CEO in London, so across the pond over there with Tim. Paul says, my wife is constantly on her phone. I walk into the room and she hides the screen. She says it's nothing, but I know something's going on. Even if it's not another guy, the fact that she'd rather scroll than talk to me is a gut punch. How do I compete with that?
I'll give you the short answer, Paul. It's actually closer to Phil, I think, but be more interesting than Instagram.
Yeah.
Be more interesting to her than what's on the screen. If she's putting her phone down quickly and your gut is telling you something's wrong, you're right.
Yeah.
You know, it's a gut instinct. We're given that gut instinct for a reason by the universe, our creator, God, whatever you want to say. But when I hear these stories from guys, and again, I have so many reps of this, I can tell you where that story leads 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
Right. Now, Paul may never find out this answer. And I don't know if he necessarily needs to find it out, but he needs to change his behaviors. Because what it's telling me is she's bored. She's bored of Paul. And she's bored of her life or her situation. And so he gets to switch it up. And there's a lot of ways to do this. We have a free thing on how to plan the perfect date night. So if you email into VIP@thepowerfulman.com and put date night or give me the free date night, it's an ebook /PDF. You guys know the deal. But it gives you an idea on how to plan a date night and how to take her out. Take her out on a date night, right? So what would it look like? You walk in the room, she puts her phone down and go, you know what? Go get a dress on. We're going to dinner, right? And she might say no and go, nope, we're going. You know, obviously you're not going to physically force her, but be commanding, Paul. Probably you don't do this, so it's going to startle her, and she might have some pushback. She might get really excited, and go and plan the good date night with her. Talk to her, see what's going on in her world. You see, Chris, what happens for a lot of guys? How many years have you been married?
12.
Yeah. So you've been married for 12 years. Are you the same man that married your wife?
Absolutely not.
Yeah. So the problem is most men think their wife is the same woman that they married, and they forget that she has changed. Yeah. Your wife has absolutely not, right? I hope.
For sure.
And most all women are going to have that, right? And most men are, but we forget. And so they stop finding out what books she's reading, what's she into, what's going on in her world, right? Especially as women get older, society doesn't treat women very well as they age. And so there's a lot of stuff that's dumped upon them. So he gets to find out and plan something interesting on your date night. We did a podcast with another Chris, Andreessen, who runs the Navigate program for us. And he had a great line like, dinner's not a date.
Yeah.
Dinner's dinner. Taking your wife out to dinner is not the date. You can make dinner the date by other stuff, but make it a date, make it an experience, make it exciting. And then he's got to get activated because I can tell he's not. And activated is kind of like unplugging. Stop being the nice guy. Stop being the deer. Because what's going to happen here is, I know it feels like a gut punch, Paul, but what's going to happen is you're going to start to resent her. You're going to start to try to get her attention in needy ways that are going to be less attractive. And all she's going to do is go into another room, or my guess is his wife is in the bathroom a lot and she's in the bathroom for a long time.
Yeah.
Guess what she's doing in the bathroom? She's chatting with somebody or she's scrolling or doing whatever she's doing, but she doesn't want you to see. I hear this from men all the time when they find out that the wife is having an emotional affair. Like I'll go, hey, does she spend a lot of time in the bathroom? Like, oh yeah, actually, come to think of it, she does. Okay. When you walk in the room, she put her phone down. Yeah. Does she ever get up and go into another room? Yeah. Okay, there you go. There's three signs that I typically see that there's some kind of an emotional affair going on. Yeah. And it sucks, man. And I feel bad for Paul because, I also hear that you can watch your wife walking around the room singing a song. It could be a love song or a sexual song, and it's not about you. She's thinking about somebody else. So it's friggin' tough, man. Really, really tough. And yeah, I think that's how you start. Start with date night. Start being commanding. Don't mention the phone. Just be you. And if you're having a hard time figuring out how to be that version of you, get help.
Yep. I love the tagline, just be more interesting than Instagram.
Yeah.
So it's a great mantra just to carry around with you everywhere you go.
Sure. No, yeah. I could use that reminder like a lot of times.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. We have time for one more?
Yeah, let's do it.
I love these questions you guys are sending in. Thanks for curating these, by the way.
Yeah, of course. Okay. So this is from James, who's a 41-year-old software engineer in Toronto.
We were talking about Toronto.
Wow. Yeah?
Yeah.
My wife flat out rejected me last week when I tried to initiate sex. She said, stop, I don't want to. That stung. How do I make a move without feeling like I'm at risk for humiliation every time I initiate sex?
That sucks, man. Getting rejected sucks, period. And so if you're getting rejected a lot, it's not a health thing, most likely. It's very similar to, I think, what we talked about, Mark, the last podcast.
Yep.
There's probably lack of polarity there, and she doesn't feel safe.
Yeah.
Those are the first two underlying things. So, okay, how do you bring polarity back? Well, you first have to have trust and safety in there for her to trust your polarity, trust that you're going to do the things you're going to do. So when I talk about the trust part, there may not have been a gross trust that was done, like an affair or you're beating the crap out of her or something. Mm-hmm. A lot of times it could be you're just not doing the things you say you're going to do.
Yeah.
Right? Hey, you know what? Tomorrow I'm going to go work out, and you don't. Or I'm going to take the activation method, and you don't. Or whatever else it may be. It could be 100 little things. And eventually she's like, well, he doesn't do what he's going to say. He has no integrity. Yeah. So I can't trust him. And it could be the fact that you've slipped into being a nice guy, and now she feels like she's got a Labrador retriever or another kid in the house, not a man. Yep. And unfortunately, or fortunately for us, she wants a man.
Yep.
Right? But what's weird is our society teaches men to be nice guys, to hey, bite your tongue, toe the line, keep the peace, don't say anything, don't ruffle feathers, right? Just go along to get along. And that's not what our women want. They don't want that version of us. There might be a time and place for that, but they don't want that in their marriage, yep. Not with the person that they want to have hot, kinky sex with.
Yep.
I believe, Chris, that women are more sexual than men. I hear the stories. When I own my gym, so I own two different locations. I moved once. It was only one business. But I always had an upstairs because I ran other companies, and it was just more cost effective to have them in the same place. But I could hear through the vents. Not that I was eavesdropping, but you could just hear. And we had other workers up there, but you would hear the women because it was a private training facility. And you'd hear these moms and these other women talking about, and they talk nasty, way dirtier than the guys talk. And women are looking for this. You look at 50 Shades of Grey. Guys, whatever you're doing right now, if you haven't done it, go Google how many copies did 50 Shades of Grey sell. Okay. I'm going to guess that 98% of that was read by women. And that book is about a kind of not a passive woman, but it's about a normal woman who runs into a dominant, fierce, strong man. And this man takes her and is very masculine. Do you think this is possibly what women are fantasizing about?
Yeah.
Do you think this is possibly what your wife wants? 100%. It definitely is. I talk about this a lot, Chris, too, is I look at whatever like the Amazon bestsellers, the New York Times bestsellers are in fiction. It's not usually one, but if you go down the list, there's always basically a novel in there. And what I like to do is use ChatGPT or something to get a quick summary and find out if there's a romance angle in there, because I want to stay on top of those things. Yeah. And most of the time there is. Yeah. And most of the time that's the dynamic. There was one recently which this woman comes and, she ends up falling in love with this kind of crude rancher type of guy, almost like Jim Dutton in Yellowstone, right? Yeah. You look at, there's a reason these characters are so prominent, but yet at home, we bite our tongue to keep the peace. She's going to get mad at me, or she's not happy. I'm going to try to make her happy. You don't make her happy. You take care of yourself. You get the skills. What you do is make her safe, emotionally safe. That is your role. You're a provider and a protector. And men get that, but what they don't get is the protector part, is the emotional protection. Yep. And so when you don't provide that emotional protection, you're not getting nookie.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks for getting the questions again, man. I'd love to keep these going and keep people coming in. Get more.
Yeah, for sure. I've got several collected here, so we'll just keep them going.
Sounds great. Gentlemen, as I always say in the moment of insight, take massive action. Thank you for you guys that took massive action sending in your questions. There's two places really that we collect these questions from now. If you are active and you've been involved in any of our programs, alumni, whatever it may be, you probably have access to the TPM app, either on your iOS device, your Apple phone, your iPhone, or your other phone, whatever the Google phone it is. I haven't had one of those for a long time. Android, that's what it is. So either way, you have the app. Go into the app and you can ask a question in there and say, hey, I have a question for the podcast. I'd love to get this answered. And Chris and the rest of the team could curate those. Chris is one of our advisors. Great guy. If you're interested in our programs, Chris is potentially one of the men that you'll get to speak with and just answering questions about your specific situation. So great job. The second place you can submit questions is emailing that question in to VIP@thepowerfulman.com. That's Victor, India, P would be what? Pennsylvania? Let's just call it Pennsylvania at thepowerfulman.com. And just email your question in and we'll do our best. We get a lot of emails, as you guys can imagine. We've had over 1 million downloads of the podcast, over 1,000 episodes. We get a lot. We do our best to sort through them. But you can also book a call with one of our advisors and talk to them directly. That's absolutely free. We do have a qualification process. But hey, those guys that did send these in, you guys took massive action. Way to go. Now keep that momentum rolling. You got to keep the momentum rolling in order to get where you want to go. We'll see you next time on the TPM Show.